What's going on, gamers? It's your boy Diggs Gaming. Welcome back to All Funkings Gaming News, and tonight I'm joined by.
KB, what is
How's it
up?
going, KB? How's it going?
I'm kind of tired, but I'm here. I'm ready.
Yes, and KB, you wanted to start off with an update on Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Go right ahead. The floor is yours.
All right. So we knew that there was going to be an update of the free title update coming sometime in August. And it's August now, and it still hasn't dropped, but we did get a confirmation on the digital event for this free title update. And there's going to be more other than just this one. There's going to probably be news about the next one as well. But it is going to be airing August 9th at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So keep your eye out for that. They're going to be announcing, we already know about Lucent Nargacuga and Seething Basil Geese, but they have also announced that the anomaly parts that you get from anomaly monsters with the Curio Affliction, we know that it upgrades your weapons. Now we also know that there's going to be some way to augment or maybe even craft separate armor pieces. It's going to be really cool. I'm really excited for it. So stay tuned in for that next week.
It sounds like Monster Hunter fans have a lot to look forward to coming up.
Yes, always. And this is why I love Monster Hunter, and you should too.
Oh, man, she's really putting it out there.
As always, this is not news for that how much I love it. Anyway.
Hey, we love passion here. That's why we do this. Moving on, we got updates from the Activision Microsoft buyout. So, as we all know, right now, they're going through everything from the organizations, checking, make sure this is all going to be okay. Because, again, this is a $70 billion purchase. And we're talking about a big game that Microsoft's going to get. We all know what it is. COD. Well, a lot of government organizations, they're not only talking to Microsoft and Activision about this, they're also talking to other gaming companies. They're asking them questions about how this will affect the market, whether them getting whether Microsoft getting Activision, is going to affect the gaming industry in a negative way. And a lot of countries do not make this public, but for some reason, Brazil does. And so we got information on what a lot of gaming companies said. Most of them said that Microsoft buying Activision would not change the gaming market. And asking them about, Game Pass and how does that affect the market. They said that's more of, just buying different kinds of games than it is Microsoft trying to, monopolize the market essentially. But Sony took a different approach. And what they said is that they're worried that Microsoft having Activision, more specifically Call of Duty, is gonna really change the industry in how people, buy consoles, and whether people are going to flip flop from, PlayStation to Xbox. Because look, we all know this. A lot of gamers, all they do is play COD and maybe other titles here and there, but they will mainly play COD. And I guess that's what Sony is afraid of. But I don't know if it's more they're afraid of that, or it's just, or because, they're the competitor to Microsoft and try to put some doubt in this.
Right. Honestly, I think that's just a call for PlayStation and Sony, you know, make games that people are willing to put down COD for. And honestly, controversial opinion, maybe to some, I don't really care about shooting games. Yeah, I just don't care about shooting games or like military style, like weapon fighting games in general. But COD seems to like have been losing a lot of attention lately. Like people will still play the older games just for sentimental reasons, but
Oh yeah.
honestly, they haven't been really doing anything new.
Yeah. After, what was it? Black Ops Cold War, that sold really well, but
Mhm.
Vanguard was one of the worst performances from a COD game. I mean, it
Right.
just was not good, to say the very
Yeah.
least. And Sony said that COD is basically unrivaled at this point, that even if somebody had the budget to make a COD like game, it would not succeed because COD's just too big. And
Mhm.
I'll give them that. Maybe they're right because COD is still one of the biggest franchises out there, but how much longer can that really continue to go on with how COD's been made, especially with Vanguard? But Microsoft had a different approach, and this is what they said. Specifically with respect to Activision Blizzard games, there is nothing unique about the video games developed and published by Activision Blizzard that is a must-have for rival PC and console video game distributors that could give rise to a or foreclosure concern.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. So Sony takes one extreme, and Microsoft just took the complete opposite extreme. I don't know if they phrased this wrong or if they were trying to not make it sound like that, but saying that there's nothing unique and a must-have, I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
pushing it a little bit. And then they also mentioned that there is competitors to COD like
Mhm.
Battlefield and the Destiny series. Well,
True.
one problem, I don't would not consider Destiny a competitor to like the main COD series. That's more of a Warzone
Yeah.
competitor than it is a COD competitor, because I would look at those as both the free to play titles. And
Mhm.
then Battlefield, that's lost of a lot of light because of the last few games that were made, especially with Battlefield 2042. That was not a good game. I mean, I
Yeah.
think EA has pretty much given up on that game at this point.
Yeah. It
Or
kind of seems
they're
like
gonna
it.
yeah, or they're gonna give up on it soon because that was just a misstep all the way. But I mean, you look at the other games. I mean, Medal of Honor was basically destroyed by COD, and then SOCOM hasn't had a new game since the PlayStation 3 era. So I mean, I do get PlayStation's point of view,
Mhm.
but at some point, I think some game's going to rise up and basically challenge COD if COD keeps doing what they've been doing, which it does look like that's the case with this
Yeah.
latest one, even though Activision Blizzard has said that I think it's like their most advanced Call of Duty game, whatever that means, but it still looks like the same COD game that we're used to. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, there's also other titles. Like there's other genres that you could like expand out into other than, just a first person or like a third person shooter.
Yeah.
Like you can conquer the market somewhere else. Like you don't have to have like the best, strongest competitor to COD.
Yeah. And also with what PlayStation's talk about, I just don't see this, especially in the short term. Because
Mhm.
let's say COD goes on Game Pass so that people can get that day one. You really think people that have a PlayStation are just going to switch over, buy a whole new console, buy a subscription to Game Pass for just that one game? If all they're going to do is play that one game, I just don't see that. I mean, I guess a few could do that, but I just don't see a
Yeah,
majority of gamers doing that.
neither do I. Honestly, there's a lot of PlayStation exclusives
Yeah.
that I really enjoy. I mean, I've never had an Xbox. I don't really care for Xbox. So maybe this is just me being biased, but I'm not going to trade in my PlayStation for COD.
Yeah, and again, there are going to be gamers that will do that, but it just doesn't seem like,
I'd say less than 10%.
yeah, it just doesn't seem like that's something that's really going to happen, specifically in the short term. Now, what happens in the long term, we don't know, but I
Yeah,
mean,
this is
with
going to
something like,
be, the next generation after,
yeah,
PlayStation 5. Maybe if Xbox does something even better than that, but this is going to be at least one generation, possibly two or three down the road.
yeah, exactly. All right, now you were talking about COD losing a lot of players. Well,
Mhm.
we just found out that in the last year, Activision monthly active players have fallen from 150 million down to 94 million. So under 100 million active players for Activision.
Yeah,
And
that's not good.
yeah, and that's mainly COD. And yeah, that's a problem. Now, you would always expect that when you're after a release COD months down the road, but that's a lot. That really is.
Yeah, I don't think you would expect that much of
Yeah.
a decrease.
We all know that COD they're going to skip a year, but apparently there's still going to be premium COD content coming next year. Whatever that means. People are not sure exactly what that means. I mean, maybe that's something for Warfare 2 or Warzone, but I don't know what exactly they mean by that, because we know that, well, they said that they're going to skip a year with COD, so I don't know if that's like DLC for Modern Warfare 2, just something coming from Warzone, or maybe a remaster of an old game. Who knows?
Maybe a crossover or something.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty vague.
Yeah.
Now, okay, last thing I want to talk about, and this is really funny.
Okay.
And okay. So, KB, I know you're not a sports fan whatsoever, but I'm just curious. Did you hear the thing with Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray and his contract?
No.
Okay, this is going to be funny. So apparently the Cardinals had put in this clause that said that he had to like basically watch film and study for 4 hours each day, because apparently he was playing too much Call of Duty.
Oh.
And somebody did an analysis of his performance, and apparently he played worse when there was active double XP weekends. And I just find that so funny. It's like, what?
I mean, hey, we all have our vices.
I know, but
poor guy. Oh.
Now the Cardinals took that out of the contract because, of course, that got so much backlash. But
yeah, let the guy game. Hey.
Okay, but now look, you guys know I run a football channel as well, and I'm just gonna say this: Kyler Murray is one of the best young players in the NFL. He's a really good player, and
needs to get his priorities perhaps a little straighter.
Maybe a little bit, but again, I mean, it's just funny that they put that in the contract. It's like, really? You really thought you were going to get away with that?
I know, jeez.
It was a mess. It was a mess when people found out about that. I mean, they basically had to take it out.
Right.
Let me put it this way: the Cardinals are not the best run organization. I'm just going to say that.
I was about to say, I haven't actually heard about them, so.
Yeah. Moving away from Activision and Call of Duty, KB, what else happened this week?
Pokemons.
Yeah, we got a Pokemon Presents, and we got a lot of information from Scarlet and Violet. Now, before we start with that, I just want to talk about the other stuff that we found out about. We found out there's going to be a trading card tournament coming up in, I think, Japan. I forgot the date. I'm sorry about that. I forgot to write that down. We also found out that Mewtwo is coming back to Pokemon Cafe. Pokemon Go is finishing up their latest thing.
Their Go Fest.
Yeah, their Go Fest. Thank you. Pokemon Unite is having their 1-year anniversary, and there's a lot to look forward to. Pokemon Masters EX is having their 3rd-year anniversary with, I think it was 3 new trainers coming and a Pokemon Lounge, or a trainer lounge.
Yes.
Trainer lounge. And I believe that's it. Am I missing something?
No, I think you got it all.
Okay. Now for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, first thing we found out, we get to ride the legendaries. They are our ride Pokemon. How cool is that?
Like, I was curious, like, why it felt off to me. And then I realized that I forget what the legendary's name is, but the red one.
Yeah.
Instead of using the wheels, like, fully, like the purple one does, it actually, like, runs along. And I was like, that's why it looks so weird.
You know, I'm wondering if you can trade that off with both of them, like
like how you could do the mock bike versus the acro bike.
And I'm wondering if you could do that with both legendaries. And I guess they just had one using the wheels, one using, you know, their legs. So I'm curious to see if that was the case with that, and it would make a lot of sense if that was the case.
Yeah, and I'm also wondering if that means you get the legendary super early, or if this is like...
probably you probably get those like very early on in your journey.
That's interesting, because I don't think any other Pokemon game has had a legendary that early that you could utilize like that.
Yeah. Although, and one other thing, I wonder how soon they actually, like, you can actually use them in a battle.
Right. Or is this just like you can use them for travel purposes only?
And then later on, they can be in your party. something like that.
Yeah, because that would be pretty, I don't know, not like messed up, but kind of like if you're going
Overpowered.
up, yeah, seriously overpowered. You're going up against like this little bug catcher and it's got a level 2 Caterpie. Here's my legendary dragon
We also
Pokemon. Good
saw a
luck.
few other Pokemon, and one that really caught my eye was, oh, I forgot the name, but it was like this fluffy dog. It looked like it was
Oh,
made out of sweets.
Fido.
Yeah, thank you, Fido. Yeah,
He's
that
my
was
favorite now. I love Small than the trunk, but Fido is so cute.
yeah, and we also found out that there's going to be 3 different stories with, of course, the gyms as one of them. And I'm doing that first. I'm doing that first and doing the others. And I'm wondering what those other stories are going to be. We can only speculate at this point, but that is really going to be interesting how that works out.
And we haven't seen the antagonists yet, have we?
We saw our rival, and
Yeah, but not like, you
yeah,
know how in every Pokemon series there's, you know,
yeah,
some group trying to do something bad, stealing kids' Pokemon and stuff.
that's true. That is
So
true.
we haven't seen that.
Not yet.
So I'm wondering if that's one of the other storyline beats. Like if you have to do them like because it sounds like you're thinking it's more you do one than the other, but I'm wondering if you can do them all at the same time.
You probably can.
Probably.
And it's
Or
real
if they make you.
well, remember what they said. It's an open world
True.
RPG, and there's no set path for the gym leaders in probably the first time ever in Pokemon. Yeah, the first time ever in Pokemon. There's no set path for the gym
I
leaders.
mean, unless you do glitches. But
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
if you're not doing that, then yes, this is the first time you can do any gym in any order.
Yeah, and we saw one of the gyms, which was an ice type gym, and you were
And I
mentioning
love them so much.
yeah, you were mentioning that earlier. Oh my god, there we got so much information, and this game just looks absolutely amazing. And it seems like it's everything we've wanted in a Pokemon game. I'm wondering, am I missing anything?
The sparkly sparklies.
Yes, thank you. You want to take that?
It's the terraforms, I believe they're called.
Yep.
And basically every Pokemon, it sounds like, that you catch will have the ability to transform. It's basically the not the mega, it's not the mega form, it's the Gigantamax form.
Gigantamax
Form. Kind of reimagined. So your Pokemon can either be the typing that it is, or like I guess if it's a dual type, it'll pick the dominant type, or maybe it'll have a 50-50 chance of being either type, or it could be a completely different type. And they all have very crystalline to them. And if you pre-order the game, you'll get a Pikachu that is a flying Terra type, and it has pretty crystalline balloons. So I'm imagining that if you get a water Pikachu, you'll get like a surfer one and like all that. So, and in the new raid systems, they have an increased chance of being an alternate Terra type than their wild caught.
which is so cool.
I know.
I mean, not all of them have this ability to have a different form, to have a different type in their Terra form.
Yeah.
So it just gives you a reason to capture a Pokemon more than once,
right.
Which is really, really cool. And some people may complain that's bad in the game. I don't think so.
No, I think it's fun. Like,
yeah,
there's no reason just to, like, okay, I beat the game. It's all over, but I really like it. But I don't want to like replay the same game over and over again. But now you have this entirely new system that you can like utilize in the end game. So like don't be mad about getting cool new stuff.
Yeah. And don't forget, you can add up to 3 players with the Nintendo online service. So that might be the reason for me to get the Nintendo online service so I can play with friends.
Right. And it sounds like unlike in previous games where multiplayer was just for trading and like battling and like raids and things, you can actually completely play the game with your friends. So I'm wondering how that's going to affect like trainer battles. Like,
yeah,
if you all fight 1v4 against a trainer, or if you all fight 1v1 against the same trainer at the same time.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Right. They haven't discussed it yet.
All right, KB, we gotta cut this right now because we're already talking about this way too much and we still have a lot to get through.
Okay.
So moving on. Last week we talked about three gaming companies that had financial reports. Well, now we have three more to talk about. The first one being Nintendo. And well, with Nintendo, their net sales went down 4.7%, but their net profit is up 28.3%. I don't know how that's possible, but I'm not a gaming company. And then with their hardware sales, they sold 3.43 million units. That's down 22% from 2022 Q1. And this is 2023 Q1 for anybody curious. And software sales, 41.41 million units. That's down from 45.29 million units in 2022. And then on particular games, Nintendo Switch Sports has sold 4.84 million units. Mario Strikers Battle League has sold 1.91 million units, and Kirby and the Forgotten Land has sold 1.88 million units. So Nintendo, yeah, it looks like they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Second one we're going to talk about is Sega's Q1 financial year 23 financial report, and their revenue was at 494 million. That is up 11%. Their operating income is at 20 million. That's down 29%. And they said that they had a strong performance of new titles. So sounds like Sega's happy with their results. You got to remember, we're starting to come down from basically the COVID highs where a lot of people were buying a lot of games, and that's just not the case right now.
Right. You had to stay inside and hide, and now you don't have to anymore. So
last one we want to talk about is Square Enix, and Square Enix was not happy, and we might have actually figured out why they decided to sell the companies that they sold, or the developers that they sold at such a cheap price, because they just were not performing up to where Square Enix thought they were going to. The report was not great. I don't have the numbers on me right now. I'm going to apologize for that. But basically, Square was not happy with that. And right now, they are looking to sell stakes. And basically, they're focusing on more Japanese titles. And you're wondering, they're looking to sell stakes in the developers that they have left. And it really does sound like they want to be bought by somebody. That definitely sounds like that's what's going to happen. What do you think, KB?
That Square Enix just wants to be bought out?
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
I don't know, maybe, but they're like creating this whole like lot of hype around their entire Final Fantasy series, which is what bailed them out the first time. So like maybe they're trying to get somebody to buy them at like a great price for that, or
well,
maybe
people still think that Sony is going to be the ones to buy them out. That they want Sony to buy them, and with Sony wanting a more active role with in the Japanese market, and with Square Enix now focusing more on their Japanese games, it seems like that might be the case.
Maybe.
I mean, it does seem like it, but
I mean, it could be. I'm not gonna be like yes or no, but
yeah, we can only speculate at this point. I mean, we literally can only speculate, but it basically would not surprise me if somebody bought Square Enix, specifically if Sony bought Square Enix. And again, with Square Enix selling not only the developers but the IPs, I mean, they sold off.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they sold off the Tomb Raider franchise, the Deus Ex franchise, and a few others that were pretty big too. Would make a lot of sense at this point, because but again, time will only tell. Speaking of one of the companies that Square Enix sold to Embracer Group, Jeff Grubb was reporting that Eidos Montreal wants to bring back the Deus Ex franchise and accomplish what Cyberpunk 2077 could not. And okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, what's interesting about the Deus Ex franchise is they've made 4 games, and 1 and 3 are considered one of the best games of their respective generations.
Right.
While 2 and 4 were played with some problems at launch. So if they were to make a new one, it does sound like it would be a big hit considering the pattern that they've had with it.
Yeah.
But for them to say accomplish what Cyberpunk 2077 could not, if that does happen, I would love to see that. Just to show CD Projekt Red how to do a game like that properly.
Right.
Now, I've never played a Deus Ex game, so I'm not entirely sure about the whole lore behind it, but I do know that a lot of people are a big fan of the franchise and would like another game. So this is one, while I don't play it, I would like to see another one come out, for the fans. And because, when they make the game right, it's really good.
Right.
And I'm a fan of that. I'm just a fan of that. Moving on, last week I did not talk about this because I didn't know if it was true or not, but somebody had leaked details from the supposed new Tomb Raider game. And one of it being that Lara Croft was going to be teaming up with a new group of Tomb Raiders and some other stuff that, again, I should have wrote down. I apologize for that. But looks like that was a legit leak because Square Enix is demanding the removal of the details. And you're wondering, why would Square Enix be demanding this when they sold off the IP and Eidos and Crystal Dynamics, that makes the Tomb Raider games at this point? Well, don't forget that deal has not officially gone through yet, so technically Square Enix still owns that.
Right.
And so
honestly, at this point, like it's been leaked. There is no unleaking this information once it gets out. So like you can say take it down all you want, but the gamers know.
And I'll tell you what, that it does sound like really good. It could be a really good Tomb Raider game if this was the case. And I hope this turns out to be true because I want to see what could be done with a game like that.
Right.
With the Tomb Raider franchise. That sounds like there could be a really interesting take on the franchise. And again, if it's done right, it could be a big hit. We're just going to have to wait and see because we know a new Tomb Raider game is in development. We just don't know when it's coming out. And now we have an idea of what could be in it. But again, it's not confirmed yet.
Also, it's still in development, so literally all of it could change by the time it actually comes out.
Yes, we have seen that too many times. Moving on, Logitech is working on a handheld that supports cloud gaming and Geforce, and they're working with Tencent, Microsoft, and Nevada. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but wow, sounds like a pretty ambitious project.
Yeah.
And Logitech, I mean, we all know what Logitech is at this point. I mean, they make a lot of electronics. I think my mouse is actually a Logitech. So
I was about to say mine is.
Yeah, I feel like they could pull that off, especially with who they're working with. I mean, Tencent and Microsoft, two of the biggest video game companies, and then Nevada, that is a big in the PC market. I mean, remember that big leak of PC games that we got? That was from them. That was a Geforce leak.
Graphics, aren't they? Mainly, or is that a different?
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. I'll be honest.
Okay, I remember hearing something.
But this really does look interesting, and I'm curious to see what happens with this.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, moving on. Gotham Knights. Yeah, I'm sad Sir Meliodas is not here tonight because he and I would have some fun with this. So Gotham Knights, the first 16 minutes were shown off by IGN. I will admit it is better than the last demo that we got, but the game still looks a little rough. I mean, first of all, the dialogue sounded a bit cheesy. The villains, I don't know, it just doesn't really pop off for me. The villains that we face off. Batgirl does look cool. I will admit that. But combat, to me, that's so-so. It looks like the game has gotten better, but I'm not sure how this game is going to be. And again, I'm just going to wait to get this game. Just going to see what people say about this. KB, you want to hear something funny?
Sure.
You know how you have your characters standing around for a while? They start doing like some animations.
Yeah, the idols.
Yeah. Well, Well, one of Batgirl's animation,
Oh no.
it looks like they really need to fix it
Oh god.
because it's of her stretching her hands from behind, but
Yeah.
they did not. But her hands are behind her cape, and a lot of people were joking that it looked like she was picking out a wedgie.
Oh, I mean, knowing what those suits look like, though, I could imagine that they wedgie really easily. Just saying. Like, it's gotta be uncomfortable.
Okay.
Come on, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
And I watched that and I'm like, okay, I get your point on that. So yeah, I would fix that to where her hands are above her cape.
Yeah. Or just do like the overhead stretch.
Yeah, that could work too. Moving on, during Sony's Evo tournament, we got some information. So on the gaming side of things, Dragon Ball Fighters is going to have a next gen version, so a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series XS version. Apparently, there is a new Fatal Fury game that has been greenlit, and then King of Fighters 15 is going to get fresh DLCs and crossplay is coming in 2023. So all that's interesting. But what really got gamers' attention was apparently Sony was asking gamers about NFTs. And KV, before you say anything, I'm just going to say this. Sony, don't.
Bad idea.
Just don't.
No.
Just don't. Just don't. Okay? Gamers don't want them. Nobody wants them. Just don't. Just focus on the games themselves. Focus on your games. Focus on PlayStation Plus, but don't focus on NFTs.
I was about to say, I think everybody has made their opinion on NFTs widely known at this point. It's a bad idea. Like, I get that you want to ask people about it instead of just putting it in to test the waters. I feel like enough has been said of that nobody wants them. It's a bad idea. There's also like just I've heard there's really no way to like control them anyway. So just don't.
Yeah, we are making this clear, and every
Just
gamer is
don't.
making this clear. Don't. Just don't. All right, and our final story of the night. So we talked about the new PlayStation 5 update that it's in beta. It's been confirmed that it's removing a feature that was on the PlayStation 5 since launch that nobody actually used or knew about, and they were accolades. So what this was, if you were playing a multiplayer game and you could give somebody an accolade for basically being a good sport, and as you could imagine, nobody used it because why would anybody be a good sport on a multiplayer game?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because in Monster Hunter, in the most recent Monster Hunter Rise, there is a way to like people after a hunt. And like it is tied to one, good sportsmanship, and two, there's like a point system where like the more likes you get, you'll like get healing items or like buff items back in like your home area. So like I feel like it just wasn't implemented like properly, perhaps.
Who knows? I mean, I didn't even know it was a feature. I'll be honest. I really did not. I did not
Yeah,
know
I
about
hadn't
that.
even heard of it either. So I wonder
Yeah.
if it's just a case of bad like representation, not representation, but like bad like
Marketing.
marketing. There we go. Words.
Yeah. I mean, again, nobody really knew about it, so
Yeah.
there's nothing really to say about it.
Because I think in general, it's a good idea to be able to say, hey, these people are good people, and hey, these people are bad people, and like being able to reward or punish players based on that. Because if you're a bad person and nobody likes playing with you, maybe you need to take a time out for a little bit, kind of thing. It's actually I forget the YouTube channel. I think it's Extra Credit or like Game Mechanic, like kind of channel. And they said that for especially multiplayer games, it's very important for a player base to be able to play with good sportsmen or people who show good sportsmanship, because that keeps you wanting to play if you're having fun. If people are ruining the experience, you're going to put it down.
That's a good point too.
So Maybe they just need to revamp it instead of getting rid of it completely.
I mean, and we have this PlayStation Stars program coming out, so maybe
Mhm.
they're going to do something with that. I
True.
don't know, but all we know is that accolades are going away. And again, a lot of people did not know about them. All right, that was all the gaming news that we have tonight. I know this ran a little longer than usual, but we had a lot to talk about, especially with the first two stories. So, as always,
Right.
I'm Diggs Gaming.
I'm KB.
And one more thing, we might be having an actual podcast show coming back soon because KB wanted to talk about digital versus physical. So as soon as we figure out the details for that, we will let you guys know. It's going to be fun when we do that. We're going to have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. See you guys next time.
Bye.